Michael Luciano loved Luciano's Bistro. It wasn't just another restaurant to him. It was his masterpiece, the crown jewel of a life spent chasing flavor, craft, and reputation. Every wall, every recipe, every polished fork carried a piece of his soul. It was where stories were told through food, where families made memories, and where his name, Luciano, glimmered in cursive gold above the front door. And yet, something felt off. The numbers were strong. Reviews still glowed online. Staff smiled for customers, and the place buzzed with life each evening. But Michael couldn't shake the sense that he'd lost touch with the soul of it all, the heartbeat that had once made Luciano's Bistro more than just a business. So he did what he'd always done when he felt that distance creeping in. He went undercover, not as a cook or waiter this time, but as something far more ordinary, a customer. A rainy Tuesday night cloaked the city in silver mist as he slipped inside his own restaurant, wearing a faded hoodie jeans and a baseball cap pulled low. The familiar bell chimed over the door, but not a single staff member recognized him. Perfect. He chose a booth near the back, just close enough to watch everything. The waitstaff weaving between tables with trays of steaming pasta, the laughter families over shared tiramisu, the murmur of wine glasses clinking under soft light. The bistro was alive. A young waitress approached with a bright, practiced smile. "Good evening. Can I start you off with something to drink?" "Water's fine," Michael said, keeping his tone easy and his eyes down. "And, give me a few minutes with the menu." "Of course," she chirped, already gliding off toward another table. Michael opened the menu he knew by heart, but his attention wasn't on the dishes. He wanted to listen, to feel what his guests felt, to hear what they said when they thought no one from management was listening. That's when he heard them. Two boys in the booth directly behind him. Their voices were hushed, anxious, a mix of curiosity and nerves. "Do you think we'll even see him?" one whispered. "I don't know," the other replied, his tone sharper. "But Mom said this is a place. She said he comes here all the time." Michael's fingers froze around his glass. He leaned slightly, pretending to adjust his seat, his heart beginning to drum faster. "What if we get caught?" the first boy whispered. "We won't," came the firm reply. "We just need to figure out who he is." Michael frowned. Who were they looking for? Probably some celebrity, maybe a local food critic or influencer. Kids were curious. It was harmless enough. Then the next words landed like a blade. "Mom said it's his fault everything went wrong." "Yeah," the second muttered darkly. "If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be living like this." Michael's pulse spiked. His fault? He stayed perfectly still, forcing calm into his posture, but his hands tightened around the edge of the menu until the paper creased. The waitress returned with his water. Her chipper voice felt like a jolt back to reality. "Ready to order?" Yeah," he stammered, scanning the page blindly. "I'll take the house special." "Great choice." She smiled and disappeared again. The moment she was gone, he leaned slightly, straining to hear. "Mom said he ruined her life," one of the boys whispered. "That he took everything from her." "Do you think he'll even care if we tell him?" the other murmured. "I don't know," came the brittle answer. "But I want to see him. I want to see the man who made us lose everything." Michael's stomach twisted. The bitterness in their voices didn't sound like childish exaggeration. It sounded personal. Were they talking about him? Impossible. He had enemies, sure. Every business owner did. But children hunted him down? What could he have possibly done? He replayed the last few years in his mind. He'd made tough decisions, layoffs during lean months, partnerships that fell apart, chefs who'd left after creative disagreements. But nothing that would explain this. The boys' whispers dropped lower. Michael caught fragments. "Mom said he used her. She cried for weeks. She said he's a liar." Each word chipped at him. He needed to know the truth. But how? He couldn't just stand up and confront two kids without scaring them, or revealing who he was. He needed to be careful. He shifted slightly, peeking around the edge of his booth. The boys were young, maybe 13 or 14. One had messy curls under a hoodie. The other wore a cap pulled low, mirroring Michael's own disguise. They looked nervous, out of place, and determined. "We just need to wait a little longer," the one in the hoodie said. "Mom said he wouldn't hide." Michael froze. Wouldn't hide. The word struck deep as if thrown directly at him. He swallowed hard, eyes scanning the room. Everything looked normal. Laughter, chatter, waiters moving gracefully. But suddenly it all felt unreal, distant. What if they really were here for him? And what if their mother wasn't wrong? He didn't know the answers. Not yet. But one thing had changed completely. This undercover visit wasn't about the restaurant anymore. It was personal now. Michael's pulse raced. What started as a quiet undercover visit had turned into something deeply personal. A mirror held to a past he wasn't sure he wanted to face. He needed answers. When the waitress passed again, he called her over quietly. "Hey," he said, nodding toward the back booth. "Those two boys, do they come in here often?" She followed his gaze, then shook her head. "No. First time I've seen them." "Why? Are they bothering anyone?" "No, nothing like that," he said quickly, forcing a smile. "Just curious." But inside, curiosity was giving way to unease. The boys weren't just here for dinner. They were on a mission, and if what they'd said was true, he was at the center of it. He waited a few minutes longer, then decided he couldn't keep hiding behind his booth. Standing, he tugged his cap lower and crossed the room, his steps measured and calm. The boys stiffened when he stopped at their table. "Hey," Michael said gently, hands in his pockets. "Try not to sound threatening. You two seem a little lost. Everything okay?" The one in the hoodie met his gaze head-on. "We're fine," he said flatly. Michael hesitated, glancing between them. "I couldn't help overhearing. Sounds like you're looking for someone. Maybe I can help." The boys exchanged a look. The younger one fidgeted, while the older's jaw tightened. "Why do you care?" "Because I know a lot of people around here," Michael said evenly. "If someone hurt your mom, maybe I can—" The older boy's eyes narrowed. "Wait!" He leaned forward, staring hard. "You look familiar." Michael's breath caught. "A lot of people say that," he replied, forcing a small laugh. "No," the boy said slowly, voice trembling between anger and realization. "You're him. You're Michael Luciano." The younger boy gasped. "The guy from Mom's picture?" The air seemed to collapse around him. Michael exhaled, the pretense gone. "Yes," he said quietly. "I'm Michael Luciano. But why are you looking for me?" The older boy's face hardened. "Because of what you did to our mom." Michael blinked, thrown. "Your mom?" "Angela Carter." The boy snapped. "You ruined her life." The name struck like lightning. Angela Carter. For a moment, the restaurant noise faded into silence. Memories surfaced. A young, fiery sous chef with auburn hair and boundless creativity. She'd been talented, ambitious, brimming with ideas. Then, one day, she had quit without warning. He hadn't thought about her in years. "Angela," he whispered. "She worked here. I remember her." "She didn't just work here," the boy said bitterly. "She helped you build this place. She gave you her recipes, her time, everything, and you took it. You took her ideas, put your name on them, and made sure she couldn't work anywhere else. You destroyed her." Michael's chest tightened. "That's not true," he said, his voice cracking. "I never—" "Yes, it is," the younger boy interrupted, tears welling in his eyes. "She told us everything. You stole from her. You made sure nobody would hire her again. We lost our house, our school, everything." Michael felt dizzy, like the floor had tilted under him. Had he done that? Not on purpose. But could his ambition, his blind pursuit of perfection, have crushed someone without him realizing? "I need to talk to your mother," he said at last. "Please. I need to understand what really happened." The older boy folded his arms, wary. "Why? So you can lie to her again?" "No," Michael said firmly. "Because I owe her the truth." The boys hesitated, glancing at each other. Finally, the older one muttered, "She's not here. But if you mean it, come to our place. Then you can say it to her face." Michael nodded. "I will." Rain misted the streets when Michael arrived at the small apartment complex they directed him to. The building was worn, the paint chipped, the hallway lights flickering. He felt out of place in his tailored coat. A man who'd spent years building empires, now standing on the doorstep of what his success might have cost someone else. The door opened. The older boy, Jacob, he'd learned, stood there. "You actually came," he said, surprise lacing his guarded tone. "I said I would," Michael replied quietly. "Where's your mom?" Jacob stepped aside. "In the living room." Inside, the apartment was small but tidy. Family photos on the wall, a faint scent of lavender in the air. And there, on the couch, sat Angela Carter. Her hair was streaked with gray now, her posture tired but proud. Time had softened her edges, but not her strength. When she looked up, her eyes froze on him. "Michael Luciano," she said flatly. "Can't say I ever expected to see you again." "Angela," he said softly. "I didn't know it was you the boys were talking about. They told me what you said, that I ruined your life. I need to know if that's true." Her jaw clenched. "You really don't remember, do you?" "Please," he said. "Tell me." Angela let out a bitter laugh. "You want the short version? Fine. You took credit for my work. Those dishes that made Luciano's Bistro famous. Most of them were mine. You smiled for the cameras while my name disappeared. When I confronted you, you made sure I couldn't get another job in the city. Every door slammed shut." Michael shook his head slowly. "Angela, I never blacklisted you. I swear, if that happened, it wasn't me." "Then who was it?" She shot back. "Every restaurant I applied to suddenly didn't have room for another chef. I spent years trying to rebuild my life while you built an empire on my recipes." Her voice cracked, anger blending with exhaustion. The boys stood silently near the hallway, their faces pale with hurt. Michael felt the weight of every word. Maybe he hadn't personally made those calls, but could his reputation have been enough to intimidate others into rejecting her? Had his ego, even unintentionally, crushed her career? "I didn't know," he said, voice trembling. "Angela, I didn't know. But I believe you, and I'm sorry more than I can say." Angela's eyes glistened. "Sorry doesn't fix what you broke." "No," Michael said, "but maybe something else can." She frowned, arms crossed. "What are you talking about?" He took a deep breath. "Come back to Luciano's Bistro. As co-head chef. Full credit, full control. Every publication, every menu. Your name beside mine, where it should have been all along." Angela blinked, stunned, then bitterly. "You think you can buy forgiveness with a job?" "No," he said. "I can't buy forgiveness. But I can give you back what I took. Your voice, your platform, your legacy. I can't change the past, Angela, but I can change what comes next." For the first time, her gaze wavered. The anger didn't vanish, but behind it flickered something else, exhaustion, and maybe the faintest spark of hope. "I'll think about it," she said quietly. Michael nodded. "That's all I ask." A week later, she walked through the doors of Luciano's Bistro again. No cameras, no applause, just quiet respect. Michael met her at the entrance, hands clasped nervously. "Thank you for coming." "I almost didn't," she admitted. "But Jacob and Ethan, they said maybe you meant it." "I do," he said simply. "You deserve this." Together, they stepped into the kitchen. The same stainless steel counters. The same smell of garlic and rosemary. But this time, it felt different, equal. He laid out a proposal. Head chef position, full creative freedom, public recognition of her contributions. A press release already drafted, crediting her for the original recipes that built Luciano's Bistro. Angela read it in silence. When she looked up, her voice was softer. "I never thought I'd hear you say any of this." Michael smiled faintly. "Neither did I." She hesitated, then extended her hand. "Let's see if you're serious." He took it, relief flooding him. "I won't let you down." Rebuilding trust wasn't instant. It took weeks, cautious conversations, long hours in the kitchen, quiet compromises. But gradually, the bitterness melted into something resembling respect. Together, they reinvented the menu, blending her bold flavors with precision, and the restaurant flourished. Critics raved about Luciano's Bistro's rebirth. Articles now mention both names side by side, Michael Luciano and Angela Carter. One night, as the dinner rush faded, Michael found her plating a new dish, delicate, colorful, alive. He smiled. "Looks incredible." Angela glanced at him, a small, genuine smile touching her lips. "It feels good to create again." Michael nodded. "It feels good to see you here." She paused, then said softly, "Maybe some things could be fixed after all." Jacob and Ethan became regulars, always sitting near the kitchen to watch their mom in her element. The pride in their eyes replaced the anger that had once burned there. Michael would sometimes stop by their table, kneeling beside them. "You know," he'd say, smiling, "your mom's one of the best chefs I've ever worked with." Jacob smirked. "Yeah, we know." Then, after a pause, "Guess we were wrong about you." Michael laughed, the sound light and genuine. "I'll take that." And for the first time in years, he felt peace, the kind that comes not from success, but from making something right. He knew redemption wasn't a single act. It was a lifetime of choosing better. And as laughter drifted to the restaurant that now belonged to both of them, Michael realized that maybe the heart of Luciano's Bistro had never been lost at all. It had just been waiting to be found again